I, as an English learner, have also experienced plateau, the so-called plateau. It's when your level of English doesn't grow whatever you do. So you go to some teacher, tutor, you visit some speaking clubs, you watch films with subtitles or without them, you speak to native speakers a lot, and still your level of English is really poor. So why can this happen? I have at least 5 reasons for that. First of all, you need to understand that it's okay when you have a plateau in learning. It's absolutely fine. You will grow. You just need to find some other tools for growing, some other instruments to improve your vocabulary, grammar, and all together. But there are still some factors that you need to consider. And first of all, it's your teacher. A lot of us learn English with ESL teachers, of course. They are teachers who know English, but their native language is the same as our native language. For example, I'm living in Ukraine and I've learned English with a Ukrainian speaking teacher. And there is a problem. When your teacher speaks English not perfectly, not like a native, that's very hard to grow at least to the same level as your teacher. You will never outshine your teacher whatever you do. So if you've grown to C1, to B2 level, and you feel that there is a plateau in your learning, maybe it's a good time to find another teacher, or at least to try something else. Try some other methods of learning English, try some apps, try some other methods to improve your vocabulary, grammar, speaking, and etc, etc. Even just having a change, if you have learned English with one teacher for a year or 2 years, maybe just having a change, it's already a good idea, even if your teacher is perfect, it's a native speaker and with a lot of credentials, but if you don't grow, maybe try something else. The second reason is your lazy brain. Every human in the world has lazy brain. I mean, when your brain understands that you don't need some certain knowledge, your brain will not remember this information at all. Maybe you will have it in a passive way, but you will not use this information. So, for example, you work in a company and you speak to people from all over the world in English, but you have a B2 level and it's completely enough for you and your brain understands this. And when you learn a C1 level, your brain just doesn't remember the words, doesn't remember the grammar. Your brain refuses to learn English further. So how to solve this? You may solve this pretty easily. Give yourself a challenge. Speak to a British native speaker. Watch a film without any subtitles, just a film in English. Try to read a really complicated text and understand that you don't know a lot of words. You don't know a lot of grammar constructions, and your English level is not enough to completely understand what you're reading or watching. This challenge will show your brain that it's not the end of the way, and there is still a lot to learn. The third thing is connected with the previous one: no challenges. When you're having no challenges, you will not grow. This works for any language, and this works for any other thing you learn. If you don't get challenges, you'll think that it's completely okay for you to know this on this level, and that's all. So making challenges is a very important thing when learning. Then the fourth thing is not enough real life experience. You need to use whatever you learn. When we learn some grammar or learn some words, we get them in our passive vocabulary, in our passive knowledge, but we will not use these words. We will not use this grammar, because to make it into our active vocabulary, to make it into active mind, we have to use them. We have to force ourselves and use them several times. And then our brain will think, wow, this is really important piece of grammar. I have to remember this. And when you use this, not just hear, but use this a couple of times, it will start moving to your active vocabulary. Also, if we don't practice our English, if we don't speak a lot, we really tend to think in our native language. We think in our native language and then we translate this into English, and that's quite challenging for our mind, because it makes you work as a translator all the time. This is pretty hard, especially if you are talking about C1, C2 levels where you're almost native speaker. Translating in your mind becomes really difficult. So avoid this. On high levels of English, avoid translating. Start thinking in English, and this is the only way you can improve further than B2. And the fifth thing is not using what we learn. So a lot of us will stick to basic words, basic grammar, because we understand them, and we will always use these basic things when we speak to someone. This is a very bad idea. If you're doing this, there is a high chance that whatever you learn will not be in your mind for a long time. It will go down to the passive vocabulary, and you will not remember this when you need this information, like grammar or words or whatever. Eventually, we learn something to use it. We learn words to use them. We learn grammar to use it. When you learn something, you just force yourself to use it several times. That's why speaking clubs are so good. You go to speak with people and you have the chance to use something that you learned yesterday. This is the way real life practicing really helps us improve our language.